welcome to your second online saxophone lesson. We did a lot in our second lesson today, so I'm going to get started really quickly. You need to have your saxophone with you, your mouthpiece, your reed, your cork grease, neck strap, neck piece, and full saxophone. So let's get started. First we want to assemble our mouthpiece really quick. So I'm going to wet my reed, unscrew the ligature, slide it up, slide my reed underneath without touching the tip, slide the ligature down, tighten it up, and we lay it down while I grab my neck piece, but I'm not going to put the tip side down, it'll be facing out. Alright, here's my neck piece. Remember, we don't want to hold the neck piece here, that's the most breakable part. We want to hold it up by the cork. Now my cork feels a little bit dry, so I'm going to put on a little bit of cork grease. You just put it on, rub it in a little bit, and you should be all set to go. Most of your saxophones have new corks on them, so I would recommend doing this almost every time you practice to get the cork nice and moist so that it won't tear when we put our mouthpiece on or dry out. So now I push my mouthpiece onto the neck piece, and I have the curve going down and the reed facing down. So now let's just do a quick reminder of what we need to sound like on the saxophone. Here we go. So let's do a long note for about 5 seconds. 1, 2, ready, go. Now you'll remember in our lesson I talked about needing to have our bottom lip rolled in and our teeth touching on the mouthpiece. They have to touch on the top of the mouthpiece. I'm going to move the mouthpiece around in your lesson to make sure that they're there. Let's try for 8 counts. 1, teeth on top, 2, ready, go. There we go. Now, we talked about tonguing in your lesson today. Tonguing is super, super important. It's something that all of the band instruments do to start their notes on their instruments. So say 2, 2, 2. Now whisper 2, 2, 2. Think about where your tongue goes when you say 2 or you whisper 2. It should be going near the top of your mouth behind your teeth. Now what happens is when we put our mouthpiece in our mouths and we try to do the same thing, whispering 2, 2, 2, my tongue, instead of running into my teeth, runs into my mouthpiece. Let's try that again. You have to hear that start to the note, that really crisp t sound on your reed. If you can crank up the volume, you might be able to hear it. Think of a couple patterns. Maybe do your ta and ti patterns from the last lesson silently. So I'm going to do ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. This is what it sounds like with no sound. Now all I do is I tighten my lips up a little bit and I blow the same way, and the sound should come out and my tongue is still going to be moving. We want that nice crisp start to the note. We don't want this sound. You can hear air at the beginning. We want the t sound. So try it with no sound. You have to be honest with yourself to see if your tongue is actually touching the reed. It needs to touch it and go away, kind of like a snake inside your mouth. Touch and go away. Alright, so I'm going to play a ta and ti pattern. I want you to repeat after me. Here I go. Make sure you use your tongue on all of those. Keep practicing that. It's something we're going to talk about a lot in the next couple weeks. The sooner you can make it a habit by practicing at home, the better you're going to sound. Alright, putting our saxophone together. Here we go. Grab your neck strap, yours is probably black, and put it around your neck. And I'm going to put my neck piece down right here so it doesn't go anywhere. Alright, now grab the body of your saxophone. 2 hands. Okay, now be careful on your saxophone. We talked about in your lessons, some of the saxophones have this extra piece sticking up. If it's not sticking up, it's right in the back, right here, even with the top of your saxophone. This is one of the most breakable points in the saxophone. When we put our neck piece on, we need the neck piece to go over this piece sticking up, or you're going to have it right here, and not underneath it. So you got to be careful with that and put it together really carefully. So the first step is make sure that you have the cap out of the top of your saxophone. I already took mine out. Keep that in your case. You always want to put it back in the top of your saxophone to keep it nice. Unscrew the top of your saxophone light. Give it like 3 or 4 turns so that it's nice and loose. Grab your neck piece. And we want to put it on so that the bell of the saxophone is facing out and the reed is facing us. So I'm going to carefully kind of wiggle my neck piece on over the joining piece here. And once it's kind of straight in the back, I tighten the screw by turning away from me. And our saxophone is assembled. Now, you should have a round little hook in the back of your saxophone. That's where we hook our neck straps. Now, we have to talk about saxophone posture. It's really important. So get on the edge of your chair and let your saxophone hang. Now, I intentionally did this. If you look at where my saxophone is hanging, it's way too low. It's not even near my mouth. To play my saxophone, I have to do this. That's not going to work. So you're going to have to make sure you adjust your saxophone so that it goes straight into your mouth when you're sitting up nice and tall. So I need to shorten my neck strap. I need to separate down here and pull up. Let's see how that is. Still too low, so I have to tighten it even more and pull it up. Let's try that. That looks much better. Now, if you are looking like this, that's also a problem. That means my mouthpiece isn't straight. It's not coming into my face straight. So we can just turn our mouthpieces. So I'm going to grab my mouthpiece and turn it. Much better. And turn it a little bit more. So this is one of the keys to playing saxophone. You have to have great posture so that you can get the most air and your hands are where they're supposed to be. So let's talk about our hands. Our bottom hand needs to go into the thumb hook on the bottom of our saxophone. The saxophone's going to hang to your right. So put it on your right side, not in the center. It's going to go on the right side. The thumb hook is down here. And my hands can rest on these keys down here, just not push them down. 1, 2, 3. It can rest there. Now, in the back of your saxophone, you should have a thumb rest. Most of them will be black or gold. Mine is white. So you put your thumb on there. You can put it on the very edge, because it's not a button that we need to press. So you can put it on the very edge, because your fingers are going to have to reach all the way around the front of the saxophone. Now, here's where we can have some individual differences on saxophones. My fingers in the front, you'll see kind of a smaller key, a big key, a really small key, and 2 more big keys. That might be the same on your saxophone. If your saxophone looks just like mine, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of pearl keys, you don't press the first key. We skip the first key, press the second. We never press the little tiny key. Push down put your second finger on the next big key, and your third finger goes on the last pearl key. So to go over that really quick again, we don't press the first key, we skip it. So we go second key, skip the little tiny key, go to the next one, and then push down your third key. That's where your fingers are going to go. Now, on some of your saxophones, instead of having a pearl key at the top, you're going to have a silver key. But it still looks like a key that you could press. So you want to just press the first pearl key if you have that silver one right above it. So fingers go 1, 2, 3. Now, we need to talk about these notes. If you look at step 5 on your homework paper, it says first notes. Our first notes are called B, A, and G. You guys might remember those from recorder, or you might have called them Mi, Re, and Do on recorder. So the first note we're going to learn is B. B, if you look on your paper, has 1 circle filled in and 2 circles that are not filled in. What that means is that we need to push down our first finger for B, and that's it. The other 2 fingers are not pressed down. So we push down our first finger, put our saxophone to our right, roll our bottom lip in, put our teeth on top, use our tongue to start the note like this, and we try a B. Let's try it. Ready? Go. And that's a B. Now take a look at A. To play an A, we have to add a second finger. We have to have our first finger pushed down and our second finger pushed down together. They go down together at the same time. We don't have our third finger pressed down yet, so let's try A. Cheeks on top, bottom lip. Ready, go. Make sure you're not puffing your cheeks. Check the mirror. And we're going to do G. So now we have first finger, second finger, third finger. Remember, we don't press the little tiny key. Here we go. Here's G. Use your tongue. Ready, go. Those are our first three notes. Now, from those, it says try this song right underneath it. What we're going to do is we're going to say the notes first and do our fingers. So you can kind of put your saxophone like this. Be careful of your reed that it doesn't hit your shirt. And we're going to just say them together. So we're going to do this. We're going to say B, A, G. Because we have to start to memorize that first finger is B, two fingers is A, three fingers is G. So let's say it. Here we go. B, A, G. Now say it again because it happens again on your paper. B, A, G. Now I have a lot of G's, so keep your fingers. G, 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 G. Change to A, 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 A. And then we do B, A, G. If you haven't already figured it out, this song is Hot Cross Buns. And we talked about it in our lesson. Your goal is to come in able to play Hot Cross Buns and memorizing what is B, what is A, and what is G. So you should sound like this. And that's my Hot Cross Buns. You can really practice that tonguing when you have the G, 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 A, 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 A. I use my tongue every single time. My tongue touched the reed every time. All right, so that is your goal, guys. I also gave you some extra songs that you can practice. If Hot Cross Buns was really easy for you, try Au Clair de la Lune and Merrily We Roll Along. In case you don't know Au Clair de la Lune, let me play that one for you. Starts on a G. And that's Au Clair de la Lune. Alright guys, make sure that you write down your practicing. If you went through this whole video with me, you can check off an entire column that you practiced what you were supposed to. And remember that we want to practice 5 to 7 times this week to get as good at Hot Cross Buns and any of the extra songs as you can, and to memorize B, A, and G. And remember, most important almost, is that you have to tongue on all the notes that you play this week. I hope you guys had a good time in this lesson and that you remember to get your practice chart signed and bring it into our next lesson. See you later!